Hi, everybody. This is painting number 4, uh, part 2. I thought that I would only do it in 2 parts, but I had a little fiasco with the cats that at the end, where number 7 took a dive on my palette, and I think it was a signal for me to finish. I was pretty tired anyway. I've been sort of burning the candle at both ends. Now, if you're not aware, you haven't watched any of these, I'm working on a series of paintings that are inspired by my late husband. It originated from a dream I had before he passed away. It was when we first got the diagnosis of his cancer. And it was us just walking around town, and that was something we did almost every single night. Rain or shine. If it was rain, we'd be like ducking in little storefronts, and in Florida at all, most of the time there's breaks in the rain, but we just liked walking and talking and hanging out, and that dream brought me back to that time. And being that we were facing a very dark thing with his cancer diagnosis, which was pretty dire, and 3 years later it proved to be so. Having that dream sort of reminded me, not that I needed to be reminding, but just the beginning of who we were and how we were together. And it's so easy to get caught up in the everyday. I will say most of the time we were actually pretty good. It just always, because our home base was always each other. We spent, our evenings just being together and hanging out and talking and listening to music, and sometimes we'd watch TV or movies and stuff like that, but most of it was just sitting and talking. And you'd think after so many years we'd run out of things to say, but we didn't. And I was blessed to have him around for the 28 years that I got to have him around. And now my goal is I'm working on recovering from this. And my recovery, for me, definitely includes art. I am it's always been a good place for me to find my center. And since my constant is gone now, at least from the earth side, then that's the other thing I can really hold on to. And I'm hoping it's going to help guide me out of this grief. Because I tell you, I don't know where it's going to lead. So I'm just trying to get through every day. You see, I got these little kitties that like to paint with me. They are troublesome from time to time, but mostly they're just blessings. I get to snuggle them, and they are really helping me out during this time. The calico is Potato. The tuxedo one right next to Potato there is number 7. And the one on the other side near the photo and the paintbrushes is Little Girl. And she ended up with that name because we didn't think we were actually keeping her, so it was sort of a generic name, but now that's her name, and she's staying because we love her. We did find one other kitten because these were all feral cats, but we found a good home for her. But I think these cats were, the universe said, you need these cats, and they need you. And so we're taking care of them. I do take care of a feral colony of cats outside my property. So that is not, out of my realm of the norm. But I'm hoping I'll do, since this is part 2 on this painting, I believe I'll be able to finish it tonight, get to part 3, and then I'll have the whole thing done on this one. We're overlooking the river here, and over to beachside. But painting is the type of thing that I do find it very healing. I also lost my mom 2 months after, on my wedding anniversary, actually, after my husband passed, because he passed away on Easter. But we did, unlike my husband who did hospice at home, my mom had hospice at a hospice center, and they had these rocks there, and they had some measly little pens or whatever, and so I brought my paint pens and brought the rocks into the room where we were, and there was a lot of us. My mom was well loved, and we just sat there and visited, and anybody who needed to pick those up, so we had a nice gathering of rocks, some thinking of who my mom was, some just working through things, some just completely, just there for fun. And art can be, it doesn't have to have a great meaning. It can. And sometimes the great meaning is in its simplicity of what it's not showing you. And I want these, these paintings are like that for me. They, hold a lot of meaning for me. But they're helping me sort of process and understand the grief that I'm facing, and I want to make beauty out of something that is hard. Because grief is not something that we're handed a manual on, just like life. It's just something that most of us will have to deal with in our life. If you have people in your life, there's one thing for sure. We all will cross over to the other side, or meet our maker, or whatever you want to call it. And that's something else that sort of just we all have to face together. So it's important to embrace life and see the blessings that are in it. I know my husband Vince wouldn't want me to be sad all the time. And I'm, trying to work my way out of it. And I have still a lot of joy. We have our daughters and our grandbabies, and we often, even when he was in hospice, we would be sitting around in the room, we'd order pizza, and we'd sit there, and, we had tell stories, and that was the same with my mom and my husband. It was a time that I can't even explain. There was sadness, of course, But my tears are really about the love. Sometimes we don't realize how much love we have around us. And it's a shame sometimes that things like this would have to make us realize that it's there. And to remind us of our connections with each other. Because it's the people. It's the people that make life amazing. Not the stuff, it's the people. I'd give up all this stuff for the people. But sometimes you gotta take a deep breath, and you gotta move forward, and you gotta go, okay, here we go. I gotta face this, I gotta do this, I gotta move forward. And that's what this is. It gives me a mission by having daily painting, where I'm gonna be doing these daily paintings. It's I'm giving an expectation of myself, and I'm pushing myself to accomplish things that I want to accomplish. I have all these paintings just swimming through my brain, and these thoughts and these images. I'm always that way. I'm constantly painting my head. And I've often I've taught art, I've been painting all along, but it's been filled with paintings for other people a lot. I definitely have done my own work over the years. And it's depending on what's going on, but it's been filled with the majority of my time has been filled with taking my ability and trying to bring an income from it. And this is nothing about making an income from it. This is all about just bringing these images out so that I have them, so that I can, move forward and this is, like I said, painting number 4. And I know that's just 4, but then there are smaller paintings, but when I sit there and I look at the ones I've done, they make me smile. They remind me of beautiful times, and that has been worth it. So the thought of just filling, a year's worth or longer of paintings, I want to see what I can accomplish. Not only will I have a lot of artwork, it will also make me a better artist. Because that, hands down, anytime you want to do something or you want to get better at something, what do? You do it. You practice it. You move forward. You make it happen. Because, there's something to be said for practice makes perfect. Because it does. It's like exercising, Do one push-up, great. But you build on that. You go from that one push-up to multiple push-ups, and you just you walk around the block, and then you run the marathon. It's not a one-step process, and I don't expect it to be. So to me, each one of these things is walking around a block, and each painting is like adding one more block to that, and I'm building this one step at a time until it sort of comes together. And I don't know if it'll ever end. I have so many paintings in my head that I would like to do with my husband and I. And they're not all these sort of more like illustration paintings, which I love, and they're fanciful and more fun. I have other ones that I want to do as well. And I have paintings that I want to do that are, outside of that. But right now, this is my focus. Is the ones that I'm doing with my husband. I've been cleaning out, although I've been sort of held off because I've had a cold and I don't want my dad to catch it. He's going to be 87 this year, and so he's no spring chicken. But he's still out there, fighting the good fight for him. He lost the love of his life. He was with him and my mom, been together since their, early 20s, and they were married at 22, and so he's trying to move forward. I've been going over cleaning out my mom's fabric closet and going through it, which is just full of memories. But I have an idea. I do want to do some paintings of my mom, and one I want to do for sure is take some fabric that sort of, and then stretch it onto a canvas and do a painting of her on that. I just think that that just seems so fitting. She wasn't just someone who sewed, but sewing was definitely one of her passions. She was a psychiatric nurse, and amongst other things, she was a great cook and baker. And, she had, just loved gardening and was good at it. She was magic in a garden. She had a way of walking around and just making things grow. Again, I know there was a lot more effort than that, but she did. She'd come home every day from work when I was a kid and just walk around, and she'd pick off the little things that were dying, and she just had this way of just keeping that yard just looking beautiful and making her plants happy. I know they were happy to see her when she came around. They knew her plants. Whenever she moved, often the people who bought the house, but this only happened twice because they moved when I was 9 years old. We went to another house, and then they moved when they retired. But both times they sold those houses, the people were interested in the gardens that my mom did. That was part of what they loved about it. And when you go back to those houses, the people did not maintain the gardens, which is sad. But it shows how much her footsteps matter. And I remember that from my husband used to always say that, because he was when he was young, he used to work for mushroom farmers. He worked for a couple different plant things, but one of them was mushroom. And one of the things that they always said is, best fertilizer for a farm was the farmer's footsteps. And that is, they're just, you're out there. And that goes with life too. If you're not there to watch your flock, if you're not there to see what's going on, you're just not paying attention, then you're not going to catch the things that need to be caught. You're also not going to get to enjoy them either. They're going to go by you, and you'll miss out on so much because you're preoccupied with other things. And so it's important to remember to get your footsteps in there and make you matter. I'm sure you matter more. Some people don't even realize how much they matter. But there are people out there that when they see you, they are happy to see you. And it's important to be there for those people. And to take time for those people. And it won't only benefit them, it'll also benefit you. You'll have a better existence because of it. And they will too. I'm doing little things. And I know I mentioned this stuff, and if you've watched my videos, I'm sure I repeat a lot of the things that I talk about. But from the beginning, when my husband passed, I right away just knew, even beforehand, that I was going to have to find those little things that were going to make me move forward. And one of those is I made myself become disciplined about doing Tai Chi every day. My husband and I used to do it before he got too far sick. We used to do it in the mornings and together. When time and our jobs permitted, and if not, we would do it separate. But it was a bonding thing. And so not only do I do Tai Chi in the morning because it's good for me, it's a good place to meditate, it's good for my health, it also brings me back and closer to my husband. And I want to appreciate those things. Not that I want to, I'm not trying to live in the past, but we built something together, we were something together, and I appreciate it, and it makes me happy to think about it and bond over it. And for me to keep that up and keep the momentum going. So I do the Tai Chi every day to work on that, and other little micro things that sort of move me forward. I'm trying to, write in the journal every day. And it's not just doing these things, which is good. All those things are excellent, like, working towards other things, like warding off dementia and you name it. But it's also working on discipline and moving forward. It's so easy to get caught up in this wave of sadness, and that's not a life to live. I can be sad, and there could be moments of sadness. I cry every day, usually multiple times. In fact, I was crying earlier in this video, which, I do my best not to do that. I feel very exposed on these videos, but I'm in a sort of a phase where I'm just like, throw caution to the wind and let go, and what happens. And, that's where I am. But it's going to be imperfect. There's going to be things that I should have done differently. My tools could be better, and that's all stuff I can improve. And that's my goal, just keep moving forward and trying to accomplish things, because that's another thing. With the loss of people, you realize the limitations of time and how fast it goes. And you want to just get out there and make things happen. And sometimes, I'm the type of person always, sort of waiting to, buy the nice stationery, but I never have the perfect writing desk to use the perfect stationery on, so it never gets used. And I don't want to be that. I'm trying to jump in there and enjoy the beautiful things in life and not wait for the perfect time. My husband used to help me with that a lot, and we enjoyed each other, we loved each other, and we grew together. We became better people together over the years. And that's what you can ask, It's one thing if you're in a place where one person is sort of going ahead of the other and one person sort of dragging behind. But you don't have to necessarily, it doesn't have to be the straight line, and quite frankly, I'm not a straight line type of person anyway, so you just gotta take it and go with it and learn from it. And that's what, you sort of go from there, and hopefully, I'll accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. I'll tell you this, if I didn't sit here and try to do it, I wouldn't accomplish any of them. So every time I do a painting, I've accomplished one of those things that I wanted to accomplish, and I can check it off my list. And it's no longer just floating in my head as an image of something I want to do, but it's something that I've done. That was my dog, Lizzie. Sorry, she's hitting her ears with Lizzie. She's a very large dog. She's underneath the table, and so she's shaking her head, making a lot of noise. She's a good girl. She used to lay by my husband's side when he was laying down mostly towards the end, and she'd just stay there. She was there, guarding him, keeping him safe, making sure he, had as much love around him, and he was guarded and he was watched. She was a good girl. She still is. Now she makes sure she's watching over me now that Daddy's gone. Right, Lizzie? She's a good girl. But she's usually laying to the left of me when I'm painting. You can't always see her, but there's blankets down there next to me, and she's usually in that mix of blankets laying. She's about 145 pounds, so she is not tiny, but she's black, so she fades into the shadow, and it's hard to see her quite frequently. Photographing her is a challenge for sure. Because she just looks like this void in the photographs. But that's okay. Now, when I originally had this, I had started the reflections, but they were just brighter than I wanted. I was just sort of getting the rhythm of them, so I downplayed them by putting sort of the black with a glaze so you could sort of see them, and now I'm sort of refining them a little bit more. And soon here, there's going to be a cat crashing into me and to my palette, and everything's going to go flying. But it's okay. There, even paint ends up on my painting. But the good thing is it was in a dry section, and if you get like paint on something, first of all, even if it wasn't, I could have repaired anything that had happened. So I just want you to keep that in mind when you're painting. So if mistakes happen, even a cat crashing into you, putting a big old cat footprint on your painting, it can be repaired, right? It's not the end of the world. It has a way of getting better. So don't fret about it too much, because you can make it better and you can repair it. And but everything goes crashing, and the poor cat ends up with paint all over him. It's number 7 that does it. He crashes into it. And I warned my daughter, because I got most of it off, and it'll sort of wear off with time, But he had red paint underneath his chin, and I didn't want her to think that he had been injured or anything. Because he also had green and yellow and other colors too, but not underneath his chin. It was red, so I didn't want to think he like cut his throat or something. It was bleeding. There it goes. Everything goes flying. And there you go. See, there's like a mark next to the moon. But I do first is I take that section was dry. Okay, if it was freshly wet, it wouldn't have been good. So I take a brush, with just a little water in there, and make sure I sort of scrub it out so it's not going to sort of stick in that area. I rinse it out, and I'm sort of getting another brush, and I'm going to lift up a lot of that. I'm sort of brushing it off, lifting up that into the brush. I'm going to rinse out the brush there. And then I'm going to go back, and again, lifting stuff up. And then I just sort of soften up that whole area. And it's no problem, right? It's all gone. You see the reflection because the water shines there when doing it, but it's all gone. No issue. And I still haven't dealt with the cat yet, but I had to take care of that, get that done. The cat's fine. He's just sitting there. You can't see him. He's just out of shot there on a little stool on the other side. You can see a little, if you look at the top, there's like a little red and blue mark. That's from him. I wasn't even sure where my palette went at this point in time. I had to find out later. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and if you've watched this, I appreciate it. And, make your dreams happen. Take care. I hope you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.